Okay, we'll tell the city council meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. and rise for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. For all. Right, we'll move on to item number 3, public comment period. Mark, it'll be your choice if you wanted to cover public comment before we address this, like right now, or if you want us to just call you up if you want to address it right before 25:02. What's your choice?
I'll address it now.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so if you want to address it, you got 3 minutes for you, good sir. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was gonna ask if we couldn't put it off until, so we knew what we were going to comment on.
You didn't get it?
No,
Yeah, just think, I had to,
because I listened to the last.
Well, which one is it going to be? Who's going? All right, go ahead, Mark.
all right, excuse me. I'm not very good at public speaking.
Go ahead, fine.
But I have problems with this proposal 2025-02. The language in it is just, it's hideous. I don't know who wrote this, but whoever did, I don't think you should write anything ever again. So we'll start here. Presence with section 1, presence in a residential neighborhood of excessively large motor vehicles and certain motor vehicles that by their design type or characteristic have a detrimental or blighting impact on the residential quality and character of such neighborhoods. Define excessively large, define type, define characteristics. Anybody define those words?
Well, you're for public comment, Mark. We can,
Okay, no,
we can
no,
bring it
sorry.
up as we go, but
Okay,
yeah, no,
I'm
that's
sorry.
fun, just to help you out a little bit.
No,
You're not alone with definitions with it. That's why we're looking at the ordinance. So we don't necessarily disagree with you on trying to.
well,
find
somebody
something.
must, because somebody wrote the damn thing.
Well, it's called a draft, but yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes not doing anything is better than doing something. Then the section D, well, I believe the next paragraph, I'll just go real quick. Greenhouse City Council also finds that larger motor vehicles have a negative impact on the useful life of city streets. You have weight limits. So why is that even in here? That's mute. D, purpose, therefore, the purpose of this ordinance is to prohibit or restrict in residential districts the parking or storage of vehicles and trailers that by virtue of their excessive size, there again, what is excessive? You have weight limits, or by virtue of their design, virtue of what design? Nobody, can you define what design? Type or characteristics are incompatible with such districts, and the districts aren't defined either, as to thereby reduce the blighting and negative impacts of such vehicles and trailers on those, there again, undefined districts. And I'll keep going, section 2. It is unlawful to park a semi-truck, trailer, or tractor, or combination therefore, or any vehicle designed, used, or maintained for towing other motor vehicles or equipment. Tow anything, anything with a trailer gets just designed to freaking tow something, so that's kind of vague there too, isn't it? Upon any street, alley, private road, parking lot, driveway, or upon any public property which is within an area zoned as residential district for that amount of time. So any pickup truck with a trailer hitch would be illegal under this if you go by the language. And then exceptions, you give exceptions for FedEx, UPS, school buses, that's already under your weight limits. So that's kind of pointless. And yeah, you have weight limits. There's no need for this. And who's going to decide what's a blight and what's not a blight? If I don't like my neighbor's rusty car, can I complain and that's a blight? Are you going to punish working people that drive their vehicle home to perform their job? I mean, we live in a small farming community. People work, people are, some of them are fortunate enough and have to take trucks or vehicles home to perform their job and provide for their livelihood. And to make a vague ordinance like this to try to make life harder on people is my view ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, and then before we bring up the next public comment, I'm just gonna outline a couple things. I do agree with Mark, there's needs to be crystal clear definitions, even if we're going to address this or not, that's what the council is gonna be looking at more. That would come with the salutations of any sort of ordinance, which is what's part of our discussion. Secondly, the blight, it's not a dead flower or plant. Blight is spoils, severely detrimental to a region. There's multiple definitions of blight, not necessarily related to plants, but I understand the confusion because blight can be outlined in terms of long grass, debris in a yard, all of the things. And the last thing we want to do is interfere with anybody's career, especially truck drivers, because Lord knows we need them. So that's why we tabled it, keep bringing this up for discussion, because we did have more complaints over the week about semi-tractor trailers. And so even in this existing reading, it's still to address and get feedback from the community so we know what to do. It's not that we're going to take action and pass this ordinance. It's so we know what to do if we want to add any more information, if we want to correct it, or if we want to table this again pending more review, and to look at what other cities are doing too, which is ideal. So that's just a little background. And did you all want to hit public comment too?
Well, I guess I was confused on, I meant to be up here last time and I missed it. But I watched it and I watched you say, I make a motion that we dismiss this ordinance. And everybody voted and agreed on it because we have some ordinances out there and we were gonna tweak that. So just when I went to the post office and I seen it on the agenda that we're gonna do the second reading of this, that, well, I thought this got thrown out. Do we gotta go back and do a first reading or what's changed? So I was just confused on what it was. If we were gonna address the noise with what we already have. I mean, if you wanna address noise, you know, I live in the end of town where the salvage yard starts banging. You know, everybody over here doesn't hear that, you know. I don't live next to Lotsky's where a month straight that corn dryer's going off, which is a whole lot longer and more disruptive than, I think, 2 times Luke had his truck running all night long or whatever. You know, like you said, if I said this before, if you don't make the rules, you can't break the rules. And if somebody really doesn't like living here and seeing his neighbor, go to the town next door that doesn't allow it, or go get your pad out in the country where nothing bothers you because you can't see anybody. I mean, we're a small town and we need to keep it that way. You know, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and we'll look back on that too, that the motion was to table or
Dismiss it. I heard the word, I went back and, yeah, I went back and listened to it, because I thought, well, did I miss something?
No, I think, so if it was motion to dismiss, then it was literally put on the agenda again, like I was emailing Mark a little bit on this. It was put back on the agenda because somebody had addressed it as a complaint again. But no, it's not, we're not technically doing these readings to bring it back in. But we are looking at it. We do need to look and try to figure something else that's gonna accommodate people, but a lot of these parking ordinances, we do need to address a parking ordinance, not necessarily for semi trucks. But because there's also been complaints about these campers where we believe somebody may be living in them. And so our attorney has recommended we do look at an ordinance and try to figure something out for it. Now, it doesn't mean that we're gonna target semi trucks, right? Because we already discussed that Lord knows people need to work. But we also need to know that residents are able to call in a nuisance. Because if there is a noise that they find detrimental, just like you mentioned, it annoys the heck out of you sometimes.
The train, but it's like,
What do you do?
My undies in a bunch, you know.
But it is within your right as a citizen to make that call. And it's within anybody's right as a citizen to say, I want this addressed on the agenda, or I want it discussed again because somebody was complaining about tractor trailer parking. And I don't know whose tractor trailer it was. It doesn't even really matter because we just got to figure out something together. And so that's my concern. If there's a loud noise, it comes up as a nuisance. To me, if somebody truly is complaining, a neighbor is complaining about the loud noise, I'm more in line with, I'm gonna go and talk to my neighbor. and say, hey, can we figure something out together? But some people are uncomfortable with that, and I have to respect that. And then you have the option to call the police if it's an obstructing noise that's driving you nuts, absolutely.
I mean, if it's a
Just do it.
continuous thing or something, but
Right,
you
then
know.
it becomes a pattern and an issue. So,
Need to grow
yes, we did have that, and we'll discuss that here under, as we get to number 8, so that we can work on it together and try to find out what to do. Yeah, we know that everybody has a livelihood. We're not in the business of destroying the trucking industry, because Lord knows we need it. And it's a respectable job, and like Mark said, people have the ability to take their cars home. They're going to work, God knows at what time, early in the morning, working all night. So we want to work on this together and not have it come across to anybody as a surprise, but this was added to the agenda as a discussion item. So while it was motion to be dismissed, then if that's what it was last round, then it was added to the agenda today to be discussed. Again,
Yeah,
because it was brought up.
Second reading, so I'm like, okay. So I was.
Yeah,
like,
the readings, readings is, we're looking at the ordinance that was previously brought forth, because we've already read it once to look at, and so we'll be looking at it again. So, yeah, we'll address that next. Is anybody else here for public comment then surrounding a little bit? I know we talked about people opposing the semi-tractor trailer parking. I think you guys are here for that as well. Kinda, yeah. No, and that's good. If you guys want to hang tight, unless you wanted to just say something quick on it too, you're welcome
We
to.
go through that first, then comment on it. Is that fine with you?
If council's cool with it, just a little bit of comment.
Definitely gotta hear this. This is getting to be.
Yeah,
you
I know, it's, yeah,
We gotta get a
So,
solution.
to hear your guys' side of things,
Yep.
you know,
yep. All right, we'll come back to that. We'll then close up public comment period. Move on to item 4, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions?
Are we able to change how 8 reads? I'm not comfortable with how that reads because we did dismiss the ordinance. I'd
Yeah,
like to change
yeah.
it to something.
Yep,
it's directly.
eliminate the second
Second.
reading.
Yep.
Yep, we'll strike A. Yeah, because I think that maybe caused a little confusion here, because it's not, it was brought back up again. All right, so we'll strike A on that. I do have an update on fire relief meeting that I was at, just a FYI. And just appointment matters for members of EDA, P and Z. Let's see what else I got. Oh, and then for the claims, we did have one more check come in. So we'll have to add $218.75 to the claims totaling $13,526. So your new claim total will be $13,744.91. That came in after the Thursday after the agenda was published, is when that was sent out. Yeah, one more. Oh, the EDA, the application process, we discussed that yesterday, so I'll have a EDA item for the council right after that. Unless Amy will probably, well, I suppose we'll put that under 9A, Amy, where we're gonna see what the council preferred to do with that. More updates than I like, not published, but we had a lot going on after Thursday, so that's what I have for additions. Anybody have anything else? A motion to approve the agenda with the additions and correction under 9A.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. We'll move on to number 5, approval of the consent agenda. Items A and B, again with the claims totaling now $13,744.91.
I would just like the minutes corrected. Under point 8, the ordinance 2025-02, that the motion was to dismiss
Oh, sure.
and not to table.
That could be updated.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from April 8, 2025 and claims for April 22, 2025 totaling $13,744.91.
Second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Number 6, Attorney Jansen's updates. The only thing that I have is he didn't let me know he had anything else going on for an update for us, but we do have the quick claim deed paperwork that he has drafted and ready to go to transfer those that were wrongly entered into the city lots to the EDA, and those will be notarized tomorrow. So those are all done and ready to go. And then we'll move on to number 7, school update. We really don't have much for a school update. You, me, Mark, Amy will be meeting at the bank tomorrow at 9 AM for a discussion of how to proceed with the existing school building to try to work out an arrangement. So that's the latest we have. At least we got a negotiation date set, so that's progress. I'll update the council as soon as we get finished with that. Our next meeting. Amy, do we have anything else for schools you can think of offhand? Don't think you've heard anything else. All right, number 8, ordinance 2025-02, use and storage of loud and motor vehicles in residential districts. We did hear some public comment on that. I agree something needs to happen here. I just don't know what, so we'll open the floor to the council to discuss. Last meeting, we did have a lot of feedback back and forth on this. We're still waiting on city attorney to come back, which he'll be at the next meeting. To come up with kind of what other similar situated cities are doing, which would be nice to just see on paper. So we know what's going on there. We did have some complaints brought forth regarding tractor trailer parking, like the semis. I believe one had it wasn't a full load, but kind of the dirty trailer and with an aroma associated with it. And that was a complaint. I think there's a complaint about one running again. And I don't even want to mention names, mention who they were about, because it's irrelevant. What matters is you guys got a job to do, and we just got to figure out what's going to work best. So I'll open the floor to the council on that if they have any discussion or ideas.
Tell reality too, we've got to change the language.
Mhm.
It's pretty vague. I agree with what Mark said, it's pretty vague. Got to get down to that language and make that right. And there's got to be a compromise. I mean, I know nobody can have it each way. That's the way it is, but we're gonna have to make a decision on, you know, is there a certain limit trucks can run? There's got to be a solution. That's all I can say. It'll make it better for everybody.
Yeah, and I know I don't want to beat a dead horse because we discussed this a lot last time. Some cities, they just don't, the district would be residential. Plain as day, that's what most cities do. We know that. And that they're typically not allowed to park there. And then we've heard complaints. We let people park on industrial park. They want to leave it out there running the whole works. That's totally fine. But I also understand the security concern. Nobody wants to leave. It's like leaving your workplace, right? You're leaving that thing running out there and you just don't have a clear line of sight to it. And so I understand the concern there.
I do want to hear what our lawyer has to say here, because that hinges on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a compromise that's involved in some of their?
Well,
you know,
yeah, because I think if noise is an issue, we've been good about referring residents. We have an ordinance on nuisances. If it's truly that loud, no different than somebody running their car 30 minutes in advance of them leaving to work. I've never had an issue with semi trucks running. It does not bother me, but I can't speak for everybody else. The other thing is we do have the weight limits. We already have tonnage limits, and as everybody knows, that does not apply to agricultural or farmers. They got to do their jobs. So there's approaches they can use. They are exempt by law for that. I don't know if it's crystal clear in the ordinance, but there is an agricultural use exemption there. So it's, if you do see a tractor, it doesn't matter. I know there's a concern about that. No, tractors are 100% allowed to go through, because I know some of this land has easements going through the city limits on the residential roads that the city has established with the farmer, and that won't change at all.
and the state's got a regular mandate, whatever.
Yep, so that would trump any city law there. And then it just comes down to what are other cities doing for semi-tractor trailer park.
I want to see that.
That's all it is.
I mean,
And that way we can probably form just somebody to start looking into the matter. And then we can bring more forth for public discussion on it once we have something better in place. So we'll wait for City Attorney Jansen's update here at the next council meeting. And we will add discussion of tractor trailer parking within city limits. I think that's does that sound better? So that you guys see it in the agenda and you know it's a discussion piece and not listed as an ordinance number? Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay,
They were a little confused.
yeah. No, and I get it. But does that work then? If we strike that, do
absolutely.
that more verbiage? Okay.
Absolutely.
And then hopefully we'll have an update from Attorney Jansen with some examples. And we can all start looking at them in their packet, so.
And this in turn can be tabled and not, as long as somebody said dismissed, it's gotta be
Yeah.
tabled for next time.
Yeah, we actually don't even need to
Or we don't.
table it, we'll just add it to the agenda, I guess, with that new verbiage, but if we. Cause we're gonna have examples and everything, so,
So it's not.
yeah, we'll just add it to our next one.
If I may,
Yeah.
I would also like to humor running this past the comprehensive plan implementation committee.
I like it.
As the comp plan wants to keep the feel of this town
Mhm.
rural.
Yep.
So I would like to get their input on anything we do in this nature.
Amy's got the pen out, I think that's a good idea too. Oh, all right, now you heard the council's piece, I don't think anybody has anything more on it right now, we're just waiting on more.
Oh, I would
documentation.
like to see even more of, well, you guys are all here tonight. I'd like to really see in writing or something like that.
Mhm.
Describe what your feelings are, what you guys are thinking. I mean, you know, you're coming up here, it's being thrown at us, but at least if we got something that we're going by and say, okay, this is one side, they're thinking this, someplace this is gonna be able to come to a match. Come on, you know?
And we're government, so how that works with the agenda is, these are talking points. So you're not gonna see a lot of detail in an agenda, cause they're talking points, that's somebody brought it forth and asked for it to be added to the agenda. And then you're gonna see meeting minutes, the meeting minutes, before they're legally considered minutes, they actually have to be approved. So we just approved the minutes from our April 8th, 2025 meeting, and that's when your notes are published.
But they're not really minutes. They're
What do you consider minutes, Mark? That's where I'm confused. 'Cause I don't,
A full transcript of what was
my
discussed.
God, you can come and
Minutes.
do a data,
Minutes.
hold on, you can do a data request on a recording if you wish. A minutes are not a full transcription. Minutes are a summary.
Synopsis, that's what I said, you're just putting a synopsis.
Minutes are not a summary. Minutes are not a transcription. You said transcription.
Yeah, it'd be a full transcript of the,
My God, how much do you want our taxes to go up hiring a transcriptionist?
well, if we have to cut back on a flower planter, I'm all for it.
Oh, no, that's all donations. That's a donor. Nope, that is not costing the city a dime. Anything else on the trucking piece? And I'm not in favor of having a transcriptionist for meeting minutes because it is a summary, so. But Mark is more than welcome to do a data request and come sit and listen to the minutes, or we'll come to meetings, so. Anything else from anyone? Perfect. All right, we will move on. Number 9, EDA planning and zoning updates. Amy, do you want to kick it off?
Yes. We held a public hearing last night for the sale of an industrial park lot. It's 3401580880. We did have an error on the public hearing notice with the wrong parcel ID, but we did have the right legal description. So we did describe the lot properly. We went through the purchase agreement. We had a draft from Attorney Jansen that we went through last night. Kind of went through every page and pointed out areas of concern, got feedback from the full EDA board. After the meeting last night, I did type up those notes and sent them over to Attorney Jansen. He responded with just questioning one item about changing the length of time with the employees we talked about. He had it set at 10 years, we dropped it down to 2. He was questioning that, so Mayor Sheets will respond to his question about that. I do need a purchase agreement completed by Attorney Jansen before our next meeting as well. Hopefully he'll have the draft of the development agreement finalized. He was gonna get to work on that right away. But I will follow up with him on that purchase agreement because we'll need that as well for the next EDA meeting. So we can keep that project moving forward.
Yeah, if you wanna let me know if he's not getting back to us or if he's hitting some speed bumps, and we'll keep on it too. I know things have been moving fast with the assistant coming into play too, so. Well, good.
And do you wanna talk about the appointments to
Yep.
EDA and planning and zoning?
Yep, and then for appointments, we do have EDA planning and zoning for EDA for the most recent appointment would be my recommendation to move forward with Schawn Harms. And planning and zoning, this came from our council interviews too. First put in app would be Sheldon Matthews for the planning and zoning commission. He's newly into town, moved here, but I think he's been part of Green our whole life, owned a business with his family in town. Schawn Harms, most of you might remember him, former council member, and then applied for the council position previously too. So those are my two recommendations, and I would make a motion that we move forward with those appointments.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign, and that carries. And then the other EDA piece, and Amy, correct me if I'm not addressing this correctly, but I know with we wanted to move this along appropriately, and Mark, you were there too, if we can chime in, but it's the EDA, this final approval, once we get that development agreement in and the contract completed or the purchase agreement completed, that the EDA would just simply vote and finalize that, because we've all seen all the documents, we've gone back and forth with it. And I think it would eliminate the point of us having an EDA if it has to come back to the council again, instead of this roundabout way. We're trying to have a little more governmental efficiency here, so
It's all aired.
it's all there. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
we got a fine group of EDA members.
and they want to get rolling.
Mhm. I would, just for the sake of transparency too, I'll make a motion to allow the EDA to move forward with the purchase agreement and development agreement for, I guess, do we even want to reference the parcel, Amy? Itself,
34,058,080.
that one, 35, was it 35?
34,
34,
0158,
01580,
080.
080,
I will second that with that number that you said.
I love parcel numbers. All right, motion to second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Pose same sign. That carries. Thank you, Amy. I'll just spend forever trying to find that parcel again. Great. Anything else for EDA planning and zoning updates?
No, we haven't had a meeting of planning and zoning since my last update, so it's just that special meeting last night.
Perfect. Okay. Moving on to 10, park board update, Hunter.
Yeah, we had a busy meeting last week, park board wise. Talked a lot about Lions Park again. Starting with the archery range, it sounds like we're having people service get that set up and ready for the season by May 1st.
Yes.
We have some wind fence lined up to put along there. We also are moving a picnic table and a mailbox down there for the waiver forms. And we also have a QR code so people can complete them digitally if they wish. So a lot of updates there. We reviewed the Lions Park staircase. If you remember from 3 or 4 meetings ago, I brought forward a proposal from Voss Construction. Should be in your packet. The park board reviewed this, a lot of discussion on it, and the park board voted to recommend that we proceed with the good level of repair from Voss Construction, totaling no more than $4,000. And I say that because this quote was sent to us on March 5th, valid for 30 days, so prices may have gone up since.
Oh, sure.
And I will also add that we also discussed approaching the Lions to see if they'd be willing to share some of that cost with us, so hopefully it wouldn't be the full amount.
Which is wonderful, I think, because they were part of the initial fundraising efforts and installation efforts years ago.
Yeah.
It's that old 05, that when it was installed. I didn't realize it was that old, but it's been in there for a long time.
Yep.
So, and I think we did do our due diligence and had somebody else put in a bid, but after reviewing the work involved and I think going underneath the steps and all these things that are involved here, that the work was not for that person. They eventually pulled out from that, correct? Okay, so we did have a couple bids on that initially, but
Yeah, we feel this price is awesome to get sandblasting
yeah,
for this cheap.
you can't beat that.
I agree for getting it fine tuned again, if that's the word.
Mhm.
I think that's a good price, yeah.
I'll make a motion to move forward with good repair through Boss Construction, the base bid not to exceed $4,000 just due to the price increases since March.
I'll second.
Motion to second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, that passes. Got any more for us on park board?
I guess just a recap on the Easter egg hunt. Went well. We don't have exact numbers on attendance, but there was a lot of people there.
I heard it was.
Yes. And I think it went fairly well for our first event outdoors. We didn't quite know how it would go. At our last meeting, we discussed a couple lessons learned that we'll keep in mind for next year's Easter egg hunt.
Thank you guys for organizing that. That was, yeah, I've only heard good things about it. I think Arlington's was before or after, I don't remember.
It was like an hour before.
Was it? Yeah, cause I know I was looking on Facebook, there were people posting pictures in Arlington and they were falling back and doing the green aisle one and the kids were having a blast and I guess the park was just full. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. So I guess before next year, just a plug, think of where we could put the Easter egg hunt if it rains day of. We need ideas.
Yes. Yes. We do have a school building for sale if, you know, any fine citizen that's willing to buy it and open the gym for us, but. No, I think that's a good idea. We need to start thinking about that for just an indoor backup, because it's always been in the school gym. All right.
I guess one more thing.
Yep.
Another thing I forgot. We are meeting, park board is meeting with the comprehensive plan implementation committee next month to do a joint meeting. Because we feel like we have a lot of shared interests and goals for this year. So it'll be good for the two groups to get together and discuss all those.
Perfect.
Right, I think that's it now.
All right, thank you much. Thanks to everybody that volunteered for that. It was a big deal. And then 11, tree removal at the baseball park.
Where are these trees or where are they?
Where exactly is that tree? I'm trying to picture it. One has to be removed for the LED light
Yes.
install
Yep.
For that insurance claim. And yeah, I'm trying to picture what tree it is and I can't offhand, but the architects have brought it up to us.
Right, and People Service does know which tree it is and they can mark it and get some bids on it. I believe it is the opinion that the entire tree needs to come down. They thought maybe they could take some limbs off, but.
By the sound of it, it's not, yeah. I'd hate for us to have to come back or wait for a meeting for them to finish the work later on, so.
Right, and the electric or the light company that's coming in is Kilmer Electric.
Yep.
And they will be starting their project June 16th, that week of, and it will only take them a few days for the entire project to be completed.
Perfect. And then we did install a water meter at the baseball field, or is that in the process?
No, we have not.
Okay, that is being done though, just so everybody's aware, so that we're monitoring in and out usage as part of our waste and water agreement with the city of Arlington. I think anytime we do install water, we should be always doing a water meter.
Good.
So that we can track that.
Should have been done years ago.
Yep. So that's in the works. I think that covers the park stuff. I don't know if I have anything else on that.
I think that is it.
Yeah, but People Service is working on the meter install.
Yes, the only thing is we have to take a look at where.
Yep.
Lots of moving parts on this.
Yes.
It is not a done deal at this time.
Yeah, we will definitely be doing that soon.
Mr. Mayor, as far as, have you got bids for tree removal or what's going on?
I think you're gonna start securing them.
I've approached one person today, yes.
I got somebody in mind too.
Yeah, if you want to.
Is it yours? Is it yours?
Oh, my son.
You're,
yeah.
oh, okay, but that's, I
Yeah.
mean, we kind of like to hear from the actual business.
Yeah, if you want to send them to
Yeah.
Diane, that'd be awesome. Yep.
I can do that.
The more the merrier for that too, so you
Yep.
can get that rolling. Excellent. Right. And we have Number 12, resolution 2025-14, change fee schedule. That's going to include the $25 chicken permit fee with the backyard chicken ordinance that passed. So I think that's a reasonable amount since there's a site plan review associated, or not a site plan review, drawings that have to be submitted to City Hall and then reviewed by Diane along with the application. So that's set and ready in our fee schedule to roll for us. So if we have any discussion on that matters.
On the now portion of it, I had some concerns about the wording. Maybe this is just some clarification. It says, now therefore the city of Green Isle does hereby resolve that this resolution supersedes resolution 2025-01 and updates to that resolution and establishes the following as a summary of current fees as of April 22, 2025, and then only lists the chicken permit. The way I'm reading that is it sounds like we're replacing the entire fee schedule with only the chicken permit fee. Should it read, instead of that this resolution supersedes, should it read amends?
Amends to add.
Yeah, or, yeah,
That's a good call, because that's how I read it initially too.
I see what you're saying. So it's, yeah, so we could resolve this resolution. Well, can amend. Yeah, so this amends resolution 2501 and all updates to that resolution and establishes the following, the summary of current fees. Or you could just add and establishes the following as a summary of added fees or additional fees too. But yeah, I think amends would work just fine too. It's the league's language. That's how it comes in from us, right? That's the league's version. So trying to think. Result this resolution supersedes 2501. 2501 was
the first
First
original,
schedule.
in the beginning of the year, we
Yep.
always pass a resolution for our fee schedule.
Yep. Oh, and
So there's a
so, no, this is right. Yeah.
It's a change to the fee schedule,
Yep.
so we are adding
Yes.
chicken permit.
You're spot on. So yeah, so how it's drafted does work. So this does hereby resolve that this resolution supersedes resolution 2501. And what you're seeing under the chicken permit is just a summary of the changes. It's not a summary of, or it's not, this is the only change, or this is what it looks like now. It's a summary of the change.
okay.
Yeah, no, that's a good question though. Yeah,
I mean, we
do
can,
that a few
we can
times.
do whatever is needed.
Yes, but we could if you wanted to make it clear.
Sometimes that legalese is hard to read.
It is,
So
it is.
If it works
Yep.
legally, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, this is the league's one for amending for the fee schedule. But I see what the league was doing with it. Now I read it a few
But I mean,
times too.
we
We
can
got-
put the word amend if it reads easier.
You wanted
that-
to read that this
Thank you.
resolution amends resolution 2501?
I'd prefer it that way.
Amend.
Yep, amend.
Okay.
That'll work. Amends resolution 2501. Right. Any further discussion on that?
First of all, is this thing finalized as far as let it go?
Yep, it's final. Yeah,
And if there's a drawing showing exactly where that coop is,
with measurements.
showing measurements from back, sides. What about the length of the coop, height?
Yep.
Are there
that's all in there,
restrictions
too.
all in there?
Yep. Yep, that has to be drafted on the plan and that's when they come to City Hall. And if it's not correct, then it gets sent back and nothing will be approved or signed until the coop drawing, the run, property layout. with
Have you seen
measurements is
anything
there.
come across yet?
We've had a few.
Yeah, we've had two
Yeah.
applications.
Couple, I didn't predict we'd have a ton of backyard chicken keepers, but I know there's been quite a few residents that have been interested, but it's a lot of work. I mean, even to do the drawings, layouts, and to get a coop set up, there's,
And it's, it cannot be attached to any other building, it's gonna be all,
Correct.
yep,
just curious.
yep, no, it's good. Yeah, the drawings have been pretty good too, amazingly, yeah. no,
And
they've
they
been-
can't use a shed of some sort, put a little hole for the chickens to come inside that utility shed and go into this coop?
No, it has to be away.
That's
from
gotta be a
any
ways
sort of
away from it.
Dwelling, yep. Yep.
Okay, just curious.
And so, and that's outlined in that amendment for allowance backyard chickens, but that's what we were always discussing and trying to figure out, because I think you're opening up the door to a fire hazard by doing that.
Well, it's the same.
And it, Yeah, so this has to be a separate structure and that's got its own limitations too, so.
And who's in charge of overseeing this?
So with it being an ordinance, part of our animal ordinance, it's always gonna be the sheriff's office and city hall can draft letters, just like we would too. If we see an issue, it goes out as a letter. If it's not fixed in whatever time frame that we allow, then we can issue it's considered a petty misdemeanor and there can be citations in court involved with it. And then impoundment too, if there's concerns for neglect or anything there. Yep. Good questions. All right, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2514 change fee schedule.
I'll second.
We have motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote. Mark,
No,
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Yes, there's a yes, and that carries. And. Yeah, which one is that?
It's resolution 13 and 14. I must have hit the enter key.
Oh, I got you.
So it's resolution 2025-15
Perfect.
to accept donation.
Okay. So then we'll move on to 2025-15. Accept donation from Diversified Plumbing and Heating for the Hope Garden. These were the individuals that installed the water spigot outside of City Hall, which we're looking at also getting a meter placed in that so that we're keeping that consistent. And again, the Hope Garden as a citizen project, part of Green Isle Lions as well, who is really the keeper of the money. And this is all donation funded and all work is performed as such by volunteers. But this one involved the city building to install that spigot. So I think it's very kind that Diversified Plumbing and Heating installed that, did it as fast as they did too.
It was today.
Very well appreciated. So it looks really good.
my roll call, yes.
All right, well, motion on that. Mark, you want to make a you want
Make a motion.
All right. I'll second, and then for roll call, Mark's a yes. I'm a yes.
Yes.
Yes, and that carries. And thank you, Diversified Plumbing and Heating, for that. Number 15, staff review update. Hunter, I emailed you the paperwork that you and I got to fill out, and then I got an email just not too long ago for seeing what your schedule's like over the next couple of weeks too. So, okay, that's for yours. And then, did you have anything else to add with that?
The only thing that we were looking at on a staff review is a possible increase on the lead person for all our mowers. There's 5 different mowers. They do the scheduling, they make sure that all the equipment is in order if there's issues. It's just a whole lot of communication.
Perfect. No, I do agree.
Something that we've lacked on many
Yeah.
years. And then we always had problems when we needed a cut. They were looking for more, so I really appreciate that being done.
Well, and I know what the lead position too, this quasi lead that really wasn't designed to be that way. It would have been quite a pain to try to schedule all the motors, make sure everybody's rotation set and really keeps tabs on it. This individual has done very, very well at that. And so we can. Did you have an idea in mind? Or is that just?
I just want to make sure that we have a motion
Yep.
made so that I can pass that on to the payroll people
Okay.
to accept.
Gotcha.
So move.
Well, you have because we'd have to think of a percentage, but there has to be something in line there so that there's something coming in, and I know I've looked into this for people that voluntarily take lead roles or they get assigned a lead position. There is I'd call it a stipend, but we don't call that in government, so there has to be just a different percentage associated with it. So I'd make a motion to have the lead position with an additional 5% added onto their base wages for hourly wages. And I think that's reasonable to take a 5% extra for all the work that's involved in it. So that would be my motion for 5%.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that carries. Number 16, street projects. I know at the last meeting, we had the curb work discussion. And we sought out bids for all of our curbs to have that done, so we can have an updated number. And we fell through and just has a only person put in that bid from last time. So we did exercise our due diligence of getting at least 2 to 3 bids, and we were only able to get 1. I guess nobody likes curb work. It's not an easy one.
Not an easy job.
Yeah, not an easy job. And I did take the liberty of looking up what the average cost is for it. And I think this is even below that. So I'm excited for that piece to get the curb work done within the city. We also looked at what we've been budgeting over the years for it. So we're not really impacting the levy for next year, trying to be fiscally responsible with it while we're still planning our road repairs and catching things before it's too late. And then it costs us more. Well, lucky enough with our budgeting, if you talk to APCO, and we are doing very, very well on that.
Correct.
We put money aside for very large projects such as this, and we have not touched it. So we're able to get a lot done this year, which I know you and Schawn, part of the streets team, have looked at a lot. And I truly think we'd be able to get the majority of it done.
Like you were saying, there, the catch basin, some of them.
Yep.
Were lowered.
Yep.
So they had to meet that. We're like 2 inches at a time where we were.
I know.
So they got them there too. So that's good.
So that'll be wonderful. And this, do we have?
This is a new estimate from Mr. Worm. He brought this in today. He did not think he'd be able to make the meeting tonight.
And that included that.
Yes, that was the one thing he wanted to have pointed out. It's on the second page.
Yep.
Yes.
Raise or lower the iron for the storm drain line inlets in the curb line proposed for the curb replacement by removing or adding adjustment ring to allow for proper drain flow at the curb line. Yeah, this will help because during the inspection, they found 3 storm drains that need to be lowered to provide proper curb flow for the water drainage, which we see in good rains here and then every spring. The cost per drain reconstruct is $425 each. So this new estimate with the 3 drains included, reusing existing casting and grade, but includes a material to add new adjustment rings, which will be plastic risers cemented in place with all labor. And I also like that they did note in here, so we don't have a surprise, should new casting and grate be needed replaced. If they're found broken, there would be an additional charge of $7.99 per cast and grate, and included the part number for that grate. So there's already been a good prep work done there. And it's unknown until it's completely removed and do a better inspection. So that would be just the additional cost outside of this, but it's in the bid, so it will be valid.
That is in the bid.
Yep, so well, it's, you have your total here, and then you have your, I guess,
It's a side
it's a
note
side note. So
in
that
the event.
it won't exceed that. So
It's not
that's,
part
if
of
we
that.
vote on this just to accept the bid at value, we still have that ability with the council. He doesn't need to come back and say, look, these 3 drains, we found that, so that's gonna be $800 each, which is already part of this, so our vote today would cover that. So I'm very glad you added that in there.
So I guess my question is, that's in the 54,800?
That would be additional.
Alright.
Yep, so that would be considered the extra cost as needed. Yep, so, but it would not exceed 799 times 3. So that's where that would be added on.
$57,215.
Yep. So I think we did good checking out bids. I know John called a bunch of people too, trying to get somebody out here to get this done in time, and we only had one submitted by this meeting. So with that said, I'll make a motion to approve complete curb work for Final Property Solutions LLC to finish all the curbs in the city of Green Isle, which will be nice, including those 3 storm drains at an initial cost of $54,815, which may include incidentals once they start to do the inspections, not to exceed $57,200 or $57,215. Thank you, Hunter.
I will second this motion.
Motion second. Any further discussion? And I know for this, we'll also have the other road work, and I know it's Schawn gonna reach out.
Pederson? No, it's in our packet.
It is perfect. All right.
So we need to talk about
Yep,
that as
we'll
well.
talk about that
Yep.
next. All right,
We're gonna
so we have
finish
a
up
motion
this.
second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and that carries. Next up, we have Pederson's. Everybody's got that in their packet for review. A lot of work to be done here as well. For.
And this was received today, that's why.
All guys. Yeah, we have the Pederson Brothers, which includes the pre-seal swept by Pederson Brothers Inc., liquid application. Furnish and install liquid asphalt, the cover would be a 8-inch trap rock at 20 pounds per square yard with rolling. And finish off by pickup and sweep. We've got the map of the coverage area of the streets that they would cover with the measurements. We'd have Cleveland Grove, Pine Isle. And Railroad Street. I think it's important that we get this done too, and we've been staying on top of the street work so they don't get bad. And we also have other areas that really need help too as we go, so. I don't know if you have anything else in mind after this one, but. We should probably get it done this year.
Schawn did a good job of describing it. We kind of looked at it, and I think that, again, if we don't keep in that, you know, consistent every other one or what we've been doing for streets, we've got to keep on top of it.
And we'll keep budgeting as we've been doing, because it's obviously helped us so that we're not in a bind trying to do a huge levy increase or bond, which has been significant for us over the years. So we'll keep that bucket of funds filled so that we can be ready for surprise projects like this too. But then for ongoing maintenance, with that said, I will make a motion to approve Pederson Brothers Inc.
That you're making the motion with the alternate railroad.
Yep, with alternate one to include Railroad Street North. They've got it all mapped out for us for linear foot.
I'll second.
You're saying the total of 10,
Yeah, total 10,
532,
I think it would
or is that
be,
extra at that 20?
it'd be extra with that 21, so we can do that. You got the, is it on there?
All these total
Okay.
together.
On the front
It's,
page.
there it is. I see it now. So yeah, it's, I was going through the back doing all of it in my head here, but it is actually in the author, right above the authorized signature in smaller font here. They have the totals
Okay, I
laid
got it.
out for us, so we don't have to add it in. Yeah, for the sum of $24,750.20 with the alternate Railroad Street North, which we know needs that real bad at $5,045.45. And that's the motion. Do we have a second?
Well, second.
Yeah, second.
Perfect. Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Was there any other street projects that we were looking at? I'm trying to refresh my memory from the last meeting. Is there anything else at this time that we wanted to
I
look
think
at?
there could be 1, 2, or 3.
I know.
mean, they all, you know, right now, I think go forward with this. And see where we're set,
Yeah.
you know, and
Right.
see what,
Trying
we
to-
can always do this later this summer, early fall.
Oh, we've got time.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then revisit this and see what, allowing more money we can put into.
We'll see what these curves do. That's gonna be
Maybe we need to
significant.
do, but I think what we're doing is getting the curves done.
Mhm. Curb work first. All right, then we'll move on to 17, other. All right, so we already did our appointments. We added that in play there. Trying to think here, we have citywide cleanup, just a reminder for that on Saturday. If council members are free to attend to assist, that would be awesome. What time are we wanting to all meet out there, Diane, for cleanup? What worked best last year?
8 o'clock
Yeah,
starts, so it's
that's
best to be there maybe a few minutes before. Want to make sure we have the cones set up. And we want to make sure we have cones on McGran or the alley so that they aren't coming in
Yes.
from that direction.
Yeah.
'Cause I think we had that
That,
last year where people trying to come in from
Work
both directions.
The way we.
It's one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
IDs for sure.
Yes, and IDs, again, it's open to city residents only.
Correct.
And I think other cities do cleanup days, so if we have an out of town resident, we just kind of direct them back to their city hall. And if they don't have one or they mention that, then we just refer them to, of course, waste management or any sort of landfill to work with them and pay the per tonnage fee. Well, we'll be there doing IDs and getting that billed, and I think we do have somebody that's going to be collecting electronics too this year. Do you still want those?
Correct.
That hasn't changed?
Yes.
Okay,
That has not changed.
so we'll check in on that one. Excellent.
There are small fees for
Yeah.
some of the items,
Yeah.
which was
It's
in
in
our
our
newsletter. Yes.
Right, and then fire relief, just attended that, and they're doing pretty good on their general fund considering the market. They had their audit complete, and they also had their finance person make a visit. And the only real thing to add for fire relief as an update is that Danny Crales is going to be retiring. So after all his years of service. So I do want to thank him for all the years of service that he's put in. Kind of shocked, I didn't realize he's been that long, but yes, he's put in his retirement for the city, so there will be a retirement payout for fire relief at that rate. And so I know I have one other thing, but I cannot remember for the life of me. So that's okay. It wasn't that important, I don't think. It was just an FYI, but it can wait till the next meeting, so. Arbor Day, thank you, Amy. Yes, so Arbor Day, we're doing the planting of the tree Friday, two trees now. So there's a Japanese lilac. I think that's one of
It
them.
was ivory silk.
Yeah, ivory silk Japanese lilac. Yes,
Yes.
it's ivory silk variety. And then a apple tree. Call before you dig has already been done. So the markings are out there. 2 holes are starting to get opened up. And city council is welcome to attend, as well as all the committees, and people from the public will be planting that tree as part of City of Greenell getting the Tree City USA designation and mayor proclamation. So Arlington Enterprise will be out there for some photos as well. So I encourage anyone to come, bring your families. It'll be a fun way to kick off the Lions Club and Hope Garden project that they've been working hard on to get set up out there. So thank you, Amy, for all that. Thank you. So yeah, so we'll be meeting there about 5:45 PM, and then we'll start digging and get that planted at 6. It shouldn't last more than an hour. That'd be pushing it, so. Without further ado, I will make a motion to approve. Or sorry, approve we don't need to approve Arbor Day. We already did that. I'll make a motion
Say that again.
to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.